Welcome back to another video with Lace by J5. Today we're actually starting a new series here on the channel. We're going to kind of walk you through the steps that I took to actually start up Lace by J5, get my own wrap shop, move into a commercial building and all that good stuff, starting from the beginning. So here's the first video. I'm just going to kind of give you guys a quick overview of how I got my start in the rap industry.
I just wanted to run it up, yeah. And I got the big truck, yeah. Caught the Jag 200 on the dash. I was just speaking big facts. I ain't even signed a deal yet. I ain't even missed a meal yet. I'm eating good cause I'm still fake.
So wrapping cars is never something I thought that I would do professionally, but I was always one of those people who worked on my own vehicles, and people would ask me all the time, hey, how much would you charge me to do that in my car? And I shied away from it for a long time because number one, I was just cheap and didn't want to pay anybody to work on my car, and I figured, hey, I can do that myself. Just so happens that I was pretty good at it. But it wasn't until I actually started working with vinyl, some vinyl decals, that I kind of was like, hey, this is nice. I like this. It's easy to start over. I like the application process. It looks good in the end. Maybe I could actually offer this to other people. And so once I actually got my hands on some vinyl, that's when the thought kind of came to like, hey, maybe I can do this professionally. So my first few attempts at rapping were really just hands-on, watching a few videos or reading the instructions that came with my decal kits. I think the first time I used vinyl, I ordered a checkered flag decal for a Monte Carlo that I had, and I ended up using it on a different car later on. And I just followed the instructions on the sheet. They kind of told you how to mix up your soapy solution and how to squeegee it on, and I just kind of went for it. But it worked out pretty good. Beyond that, I actually started watching more and more YouTube videos once I thought that I may want to wrap like a full hood or a full roof. And so I had a 2004 Pontiac GTO. I wanted to wrap it in a chrome green because I hadn't seen that. I had been seeing these cool chrome colored cars and I hadn't seen green yet. So I jumped online trying to find the vinyl. The only thing I could afford at the time was like a cheap eBay roll. I think it was like 250 bucks, maybe 300 bucks at the most. I ordered that roll and I just went for it, after watching some videos and stuff. And it came out okay, but the material was total crap, It really was no good for doing a full wrap with, but at the time I was such a novice, I had no idea that mattered so much. And so I kind of tried it, the vinyl started fading, car didn't look good after a couple of days. And so I kind of scrapped that idea. I was like, oh, well, that was fun. Maybe not. Maybe I can't do this. And it wasn't until years later when I actually revisited, trying to do full wraps or vinyl wraps. And by this time, there was more information out there. So I used a lot of YouTube. I used a lot of just online searches. I'm trying to soak up as much information as I possibly could until I felt comfortable enough to actually give it a go again. So like I said, years later, I tried to revisit it. By this time, I had a 2005 Gixxer 1000 sport bike. And so I decided, hey, I want to wrap this bike. I think it'd be cool. Haven't seen a lot of wrap bikes around my area. And it was something that I knew I could take apart and kind of take my time with since it was a secondary vehicle. And so I did that. And like I said, I had watched a lot of videos and stuff and I went for it. I felt really good about it. I woke up the next morning and came downstairs and like everything was lifting and bubbling. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? And so I basically went back to the drawing board. That first attempt was a fail, but I didn't give up there because I knew I was kind of onto something, even though it didn't work out exactly how I wanted. So more research, bought more material, and then I went for it again. And the second time I did the bike, it came out fantastic. It was really good, and I actually ended up finishing and wrapping the whole bike. Maybe we'll be able to insert some pictures somewhere so you guys can see what that looked like. But I finished the bike up, and it turned out really nice. And so that was my first full wrap, and it actually looked pretty good, my motorcycle. So after I did the full wrap on the motorcycle, I was kind of thinking, hey, maybe I'm ready to tackle a full wrap on a car. At the time, I was driving a Dodge Challenger, which I had heard could be pretty difficult to wrap, specifically because of the bumpers and some of the shapes. It's also a larger vehicle, so I had to talk my wife into letting me wrap her Nissan. She had an Altima Coupe at the time, which I felt like would be a little more, simple to wrap. And so I basically convinced and begged and, talked her into letting me wrap her car. And there was a Black Friday sale coming up. One of the vinyl brands that I had become familiar with by this time was Vivid. Vivid is a Canadian-based brand. They do a lot of advertising to consumers, not just to shops, and so it was one that I had known about and even had a few samples of before. One of the most affordable products that was out there. So again, not as cheap as the eBay roll I had bought in the past, but it still was within my budget, kind of, because I did wait till Black Friday to buy it. And so I basically had to convince my wife to let me spend like 400 bucks on the things that I would need to wrap her car, including a full roll of vinyl. And that was about all I could afford at the time. And so she jumped on board and was like, okay, if we're gonna do it, we can do it, but it's gotta be this color. Surprisingly enough, she wanted matte military green. I wasn't expecting that, but I was all for it, because I like the matte colors. And so Black Friday came, I placed the order, and then we got started on her car. And her car actually turned out really well. So I had completed my first full wrap, after giving that a shot. I'm not sure how long it took. I mean, I did it in my spare time because, of course, I'm working a regular job at this time and not doing this full time. But it came out really nice, and so I was really happy with that. And that's what really kind of pushed me to say, yeah, let's offer this to other people. Maybe we can turn this into a business. As far as the resources I use to learn how to wrap online, like I said, a lot of YouTube videos. There were some popular ones out there, like CK Raps was probably the biggest at the time. Some people like his videos, some people don't. Some people don't like his techniques. But I found that there was a lot of useful information there, and so I soaked in what I could, and tried to make sense of it and went for it. And it definitely was enough to get me started. But I also found like blog posts and things like that, that had more information on vinyl and how it works, and basically anything I could find, that was vinyl related, specifically when it came to installing. I just read it and watched it, So after we, got a pretty good wrap on the Ultima, I felt like I decided, hey, let's do this for real. Let's start a business. Let's offer these services to others. Starting with friends and family, of course. But opening it up to people that we didn't know as well, to see if this was something that we really could make happen for ourselves. So I did that, and that's just kind of the person that I am. When I'm going to step into something, I like to do it all the way official. And so sure, I could have started offering my services without being an official business, having a business license or EIN and things like that. But I just felt like that was the right way to do it, and so that's what I did. I registered with Secretary of State. In my local state, Georgia. I went online and got a federal employer identification number, for tax purposes and all that good stuff. And also, we ended up stumbling upon a resource called the Rap Institute, which was hosted by Justin Pate, who was known as one of the leading rap trainers in the world. And he also had a lot of videos showing you how to do a multitude of different things, and it's become a really good resource. We actually still subscribe to that today. We don't use YouTube as much for like rap instruction because we've been doing it so long, but we definitely still rely on the Rap Institute to show us some of those tips and tricks and even specifics for different vehicles or different films. So it's been a really good resource for us. So after forming the business, the first thing that we did, or even I think while in the process of forming the business, first thing I did was start some social media sites or social media accounts. So Instagram, I remember, was a really early one. Facebook, of course, because that was really big at the time. And so we started there, and I was kind of posting like teaser posts, like, hey, coming soon. I immediately followed everybody that followed me on my personal pages, and luckily a lot of people knew me personally for being the car guy. I was the friend that was always into cars, always trying to buy cool cars and make his cars cooler. And so I think that helped get the brand going to begin with. So when people saw that from me, it was kind of what they expected. No surprise there. So like I said, we started Instagram pages, and I started posting some things of my personal vehicles and kind of saying coming soon. Like I said, trying to do teaser videos to let everybody know, like, hey, we're coming soon. We're going to be doing stuff with cars. You know me for doing stuff with cars, so pay attention. We also started the website up. That was my wife's idea. Dasha's big on marketing. She actually went to school for marketing. So she was like, if you're going to be official and you're going to do this and you want to be a legitimate business, you need a website. People are going to respect you for having a website. And so she was really big on that. And so we went to Wix, built our own website. We actually didn't pay anybody, to design it or anything. Wix had some really great templates. And Wix was actually referred to us by a friend of mine who was in the tech field. And so that's how we ended up there, going with Wix in the beginning. So, but that worked out really well. We still use Wix to this day. We still really like our website. We're able to make changes to it pretty easily. And so it's worked out for us. So yeah, actually we got our first customer from an Instagram post. So that turned out to be a really good idea. Like I said, I was known as the car guy already, and so my first customer happened to be someone I had dated in the past who had bought a new vehicle and was like, hey, I need you to go ahead and hook my vehicle up. I needed to get laced by J5, which I thought was funny because she, called it by our business name, our brand name already. But she brought the car through. We did her car. She was really happy with it, and that just kind of started. That got the ball rolling. So to sum it up, I basically found something I was interested in, which was cars. Specifically, the vinyl was really appealing to me, and I decided, like, hey, maybe we can take this and actually offer it to other people, since I had been asked that before in the past. We did a lot of research, a lot of research, and we kind of took it slow. I had an idea of where I wanted to go. I wasn't sure where I wanted it to end. I'm still not even sure. But I just knew I wanted to get it started and see what I could do with it, and I did that. And so we got everything started at the time. It was just kind of a weekend hustle. I was still working my regular 9-to-5 job at that time, and didn't even know if I would one day move into a shop, but obviously here we are. So if you guys like that kind of content, you want to hear more about this story, any more details about the steps I took, how I did everything, and how we got from just doing a weekend hustle out of the garage into actually having this shop and having customers come in pretty regularly at the shop, stay tuned, subscribe, drop us a like down below, leave some comments, let us know what you want to know about this story, maybe some of the details, and we'll get those on for the next video in this series. But until next time, Laced by J5, signing out.